My beginning with this disease was a stunner because my husband had it, and he was walking and his right arm did not move properly. And we thought, okay, we gotta go see somebody. They said, oh yeah, you need to go see a PT. And so we did. And we walked in the room and he said, you do not have a problem with your arm. You have Parkinson's. Well, you could have knocked us both right over. So that was our jump into Parkinson's. I got lucky enough to become a care partner leader and work with other people that are dealing with this. And one of the things that was hard for me initially was I buried my head in the sand. I didn't want to deal with it. He didn't. He had no choice. So we'll tell our stories as we go.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Deb Colling. I am the Director of Exercise for Michigan Parkinson Foundation. I got involved with Parkinson's disease approximately 2016, somewhere in the beginning of the year. I was working at a gym and they said, hey, we want to bring this Parkinson's program into it. Are you interested? I said, why not? So I didn't know anybody in that time in my family that had Parkinson's, but something really drew me into this community. It's one of the best communities I've ever been a part of. And I've learned so much along the way from all of you. So now as the Director of Exercise, our vision and our goal is to try to get exercise everywhere in the state of Michigan where there is no Parkinson's exercise, because we know how important it is for all of you.
Hello everybody, my name is Lisa. I am also one of the exercise instructors with Michigan Parkinson Foundation. However, I'm also a speech language pathologist, which is what I'm here for today. My background with Parkinson's disease is primarily working as a home health speech language pathologist. And a big part of my case were people with Parkinson's disease. I took a break from the clinical world about 2-3 years ago, and when I decided to sort of come back into it, I met Deb, was brought on as an exercise instructor, and now in the middle of sort of incorporating both of those worlds, the therapy world of speech therapy along with exercise for people with Parkinson's. As soon as I started with Rock Steady with Michigan Parkinson's, it was that reminder of how much I loved working with you all and this population. So I'm really excited for what's to come.
And hello, my name is Kim Wilkins. I'm a physical therapist. I graduated in 2015 from Oakland University, and I've been working with Parkinson's patients ever since. I had wonderful mentors leading up to this, no personal connection to Parkinson's, but I quickly learned that I loved working with this population. So I became a board certified neuroclinical specialist in 2019 and just continued to promote my services. I'm certified in multiple Parkinson's exercise programs. And I've been doing the Zoom classes from Parkinson's Foundation since probably 2020 in the fall. Took a little break and now I'm back at it.
Would one of you mind explaining what Parkinson's is and what you can kind of expect through symptoms of Parkinson's?
So Parkinson's in a nutshell is a movement disorder. So by the time you're diagnosed, you can lose up to 80% of the dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter in the brain that helps the body move. So when doctors diagnose you, there's no official diagnostic test. It's the 4 primary symptoms are tremor, rigidity, bradykinesia, which is that slowness of movement, and postural instability. So that's why it commonly leads to a lot of different falls.
Is Parkinson's hereditary? Can we get it from genetics?
So they say 10 to 16% of cases of Parkinson's is hereditary. About 85% of cases are idiopathic, meaning we don't know why. But research is leading towards the environment. So your fertilizers and your pesticides and trichloroethylene, all these chemicals that we're all exposed to is why we see such an explosion of Parkinson's today.
Let me just add one thing. My daughter her great-grandmother had Parkinson's, her dad had Parkinson's, my mother had Alzheimer's. She said, what a genetic pool I live in. And so I said, but there's so much going on, and you can be more hopeful. Don't be scared.
Yes.
Would any of you be able to talk about your caregiving team for a patient with Parkinson's?
one of the things I do is help with care providing. I think the thing that's important is, like I said, I buried my head in the sand for a number of years because I was not about to deal with this because I thought, well, it's just your illness, go take care of it. And then I realized that's not working, that doesn't work. And once I got past that little hump and started to get involved with him, we became a team. And that's what you need to have. You need to have a team. You need to create a team. You need to educate yourselves. You need to understand there's going to be up days and down days. And as a team member, sometimes you're going to get mad. What do you do with that? Go to a care partner group and scream, whatever you need to do. We have a good time at our care partner groups. You can attest to that, right? And you need to talk about it, and it's okay. I think the biggest thing is like, oh, my husband has Parkinson's, and oh, I feel so bad. I should take care of him. But I get to get mad. You get to get mad. It's okay because you love that person, and you're doing the best you can. I think that's one of the best things you can say about having a team. Find the people, find your friends, educate them. The hardest thing was watching my husband at a group dinner. People would talk to him, and they wouldn't wait for an answer because it was slow to come. And so I finally had to say privately, you know what? He needs a minute. He needs to get that minute so he can hear the words and spit it out. And once we did that, it made so much difference because they had fun with him. We all had fun together, and he didn't feel so totally left out. Also, need to have the same kind of information because sometimes that's really hard. My kids were great. I didn't have any issues in that part. Some people do. Some people have problems with family members wanting to help or not wanting to help. It's not my problem. I can't do all that, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's really, really important to inform people rather than sit back quietly and not talk about it. And I think that was a typical kind of thing that used to happen with people. They would not talk about this disease. They just hoped it would kind of quietly go away somewhere. But that's not going to happen. And besides, it's better for you and for the people that you're around to be able to take this person out into the public, go live your life. You can go to the movies, you can sit in a wheelchair and sit on the end where they have a room for it now. I mean, there's so many things you can do as a team member of this person. And they need that too. I mean, we don't want the isolation. Some people are afraid to go out because they're gonna laugh at me if I fall or they're gonna do this. That's not the case. I've never had anybody do that. I have people help me all the time. But the more you can tell the people around you and your family, the better off you're gonna be.
You know, our care partners are our captains of the care team. They truly are, and they're the most important part of the care team. But you know, medically speaking, on top of your care partner, you should not only have your movement disorder specialist, you should have a physical therapist, you should have a speech therapist, and you should also have an occupational therapist. All three of these therapies have their space in the Parkinson's world. Your physical therapist is going to help with strengthening. Your speech pathologist is going to help you with vocalization and swallowing. Your occupational therapist is going to help you with activities of daily living.
And the one thing that I would add to that is not to wait to see these therapists, PT, OT, speech, until you're having a big problem. See them right away. As soon as you're diagnosed or early on, go ahead and get that evaluation done. They can set you up for a program to help maintain where you're at and to help slow that progression of the disease. That's one thing that I would add to it.
I was just going to mention, with the care partner question, the people that come into physical therapy with care partners who, if the patient so decides, stays with them throughout the whole evaluation, they learn just as much as they do from a doctor's appointment. We're with them for an entire hour. It should be a one-on-one session, so the caregiver gets that knowledge. You can come and also do exercises with them, so if they have trouble remembering it at home, you're there to help guide them. So the caregiver's it's just the biggest support that they could ever ask for.
And I would add to that too, sorry, it's coming that way. Working clinically as a speech therapist, a large part of my job was educating caregivers and was doing the things that you learned to do to tell people, listen, you've got to wait. If you ask a question, give them a few minutes to answer that question, or anything that you can do for swallowing, for communication, for cognition, all of those things that need education. So it's a big piece of what we do is educating not only you as a person with Parkinson's, but the care team as well.
I didn't mention part of your care team is also your exercise instructor.
That's right. Absolutely. I think it's really important as a care provider, though, that you remember that you are a person that needs to be cared for as well. And we did several things that worked for us. And if you're able, we had a driver that could take him to things, and so I could, go shopping, or I could go do whatever I wanted to do. You can't just be totally immersed and lose your whole life. So it's really important to, if you are able to have that, or somebody's willing to volunteer to do that for you. One of my care providers towards the end of my husband's life was just an absolute gift to us, because she started out being a driver for me. And she ultimately ended up being my best friend for a long time, because she was there all the time. And she'd say, I'm coming today, what do you need me to do? And she would do his exercises with him. I got to get out of the house for a bit, and she said he wanted to play cribbage, which I always tell this story. I hate cribbage. I can't win. I never win. And so I said, well, one of the best things you could do is play cribbage. She said, I don't know how to play. So she went home, got online, learned how to play, and when my husband passed, and she called me, she says, that guy, she says, I was winning, and that's why he took off today. And I said, you're probably right. But you have to have some humor, and she was a gift, because she would do a lot of the PT people gave us exercises to do at home, and she would do them with him. I did them too, but religiously, it was nice. It was so nice to have her come in and do that morning exercise or do whatever. Those are all gifts, but you have to, as a care provider, know how to take care of you too, and that's really, really critical.
You talked a lot about exercise, but can one of you touch on why exercise is so important for Parkinson's?
A whole expert team here.
I'll start and they'll tell you they'll finish. So why is exercise so important? So what we know through a lot of research over the past 20 years is that exercise is the only thing that we have to help you slow the progression of the disease, as well as help you manage your symptoms. All of our medications that we have are specifically symptomatic. They're not going to help you slow that progression. TBS surgery is going to also help with your tremor, but it's not going to stop the progression. So what we know is that when we get your heart rate up, when we get you moving, not only are you going to feel better, but your Parkinson's is going to hopefully stay at bay a little bit. I've had people with me still today that have been exercising with me since January of 2016, and a lot of them are still functioning at a really high level because of the exercise. I'm going to pass it over again.
She does exercise too.
I would also say that there's been a lot of research over the past, I don't know how many years, that exercise also has a neuroprotective effect on your cognition. So not only is it good for your body and the movement and slowing the progression of those motor symptoms of your body, but also those cognitive issues that can come along with Parkinson's, like memory, problem solving, any executive function that you've got going on. So that's the number one thing you can do for maintaining cognition and slowing that progression of any of those symptoms is exercise.
And relating to that would be one of Klein's principles of neuroplasticity, which neuroplasticity is the ability for your brain to change. Use it or lose it is one of those big, those types of principles of that. And with that, I want to say, like with Parkinson's, exercise changes throughout the course of the disease. You might go to your initial visit, you might have had Parkinson's 5-10 years prior, but you might go to your initial visit, have no symptoms. We get you started, we educate, again, that's huge about all these exercise programs that are out there. And then you come back, I tell people, treat it like a dentist visit every 6 months. You return to your physical therapy clinic, you just saw your neurologist, you have a script, okay. Here, we'll check you out, we'll do a reevaluation, we have numbers to compare to see have you progressed, have you regressed, are you about the same as when you last left me, which is, it's nice to have a consistent physical therapist. And then maybe it's a particular symptom that we're working on, or maybe it's one specific thing that's causing you all the difficulty in your life right now. Maybe it's sit-to-stand, that's what I'm primarily working on with one of my patients right now, but it affects so many things throughout the day. Think about how much you stand up or sit down. And then sometimes later in the disease course, it is progressive condition. It's about maintaining what you have. So We might look at numbers and say, oh, you're staying the same, but you know what? That is progress because you're not declining type of thing. So exercise can have many different forms. And then the big LSVT Big and the Power, the Parkinson's Wellness Recovery, are two programs that are specific to Parkinson's, and those help to reduce the symptoms, but it's really large amplitude, faster movements to counteract the smaller, slower movements that Parkinson's causes.
And there's also,
I know,
the speech-related programs. There's also LSVT Loud, and then there's a Speak Out. Both of those programs are similar. I like Speak Out very much because it does target the speech and getting voice louder, more precise, but it also targets a little bit of cognition and swallowing as well, where the LSVT.
And then just to kind of piggyback on all of that, besides Power Moves, besides LSVT Big, we also have Rock City Boxing. It's one of the biggest programs, I think, that's kind of put exercise on the map for a lot of us with Parkinson's. And it's not contact boxing, it's all non-contact. Your opponent is Parkinson's. So when you're hitting that bag, you're hitting Parkinson's. You're not hitting anybody, I promise. But besides the boxing aspect of that, we work on balance, we work on strength, we work on fine motor skills, we work on cognition. So there's just a whole variety of things that we want to cover in a Rock City Boxing class. We also do yoga for Parkinson's. Yoga is great because it helps with that rigidity, just to get you open and stretched. And people are afraid of that word yoga, but it is so important for our mind as well, because it helps to reduce some of the cortisol levels. So it helps to reduce some of the anxiety and some of the depression that we feel. So there's a lot of different exercise, and we often say we don't care what you do as long as you're moving, but make sure you are moving.
I love that because I think what happened for me was when I had a turnaround was to go with my husband, and we did Parkinson's dance. And if you're not dancing, you're doing a lot of fun stuff. He dragged me to this Parkinson's dance thing that was going on from the New York guy that teaches all this. And I said, like, dancing, I can't even imagine how you would be able to dance. Well, of course it wasn't, but it was so much fun. And then we got done and my husband said, I've got a girl for you. And Allie was the one that started it at OPC. And she is an amazing person. She's also working at the Kirk Gibson Center. But she said, I don't know if I love you or hate you because my life has totally changed. And I said, for the good, because everybody's having fun. But that was important because we had fun together doing stuff that, you kind of think, well, now what? What am I going to do? I mean, we used to do so much stuff together. And my best friend was my husband's dive partner. Well, I didn't dive, period, and then he had to stop. And so things had to stop down, but we replaced it with other things. And we had a lot of fun doing all of those things together. It was great. So I would really say all you guys are amazing because you add that to their lives, and that's important, very, very important. But it's okay for you too. You need that mental break as well, and fun, and have fun.
I'd love to say one more thing about dance.
Yeah.
Because she brought up a point, about dance. I just read a study recently. Do you know what the number one thing is that the research stating that makes you happy? Dancing. Dancing makes you happy. I mean, it brings out those feel-good hormones and everything and makes you laugh, makes you have fun. Everybody smiles when they dance.
Well, the dancing is a little different because we're dancing to crazy music. It's either 50s rock and roll music, or sometimes it's a waltz, or you never know what she's going to bring. And you can do it seated, you can do it standing, whatever. But I mean, you're not actually partnering up and dancing, but you're moving like you're dancing. And it really, really is a lot of fun. I think everybody can. I don't think anyone would not have fun.
I mean, I went once and it was fun, so.
There you go.
Teenagers have fun, everybody has fun. Would you guys be able to get into the specifics on treatment? Which treatments are available to treat Parkinson's?
Take that down
Sure,
to the
yeah.
medical professionals.
I guess the number one would be the prescription of your medication paired with exercise. So we would all agree medication and exercise are the two main treatments, and nothing has been proven to cure the disease, right? So these are ways to manage the disease. There is some talk about focused ultrasound for tremors. I'm trying to remember what we talked about at the Leadership Summit. the deep brain stimulation. There was what was that MRI focus?
That's the.
That was the focused ultrasound. That's very new. It's to treat tremor. They would actually have to shave your head bald. You go under MRI and they're using heat to treat the part of the brain that causes the tremor. But that's still very new.
Actual ablation.
Yeah. Yep. Any other comments on
I was gonna say my husband had DBS.
that? Yeah, you can comment on that. That's
Yeah.
probably better than I can.
Yeah, he was, it was earlier on, he was 58 when he was diagnosed, and about 2 years later, he decided, because that was a possibility, you have to be screened as to whether or not you qualify to do it. I have to say, it was a pretty horrific thing to watch, because you go in and they have to go into your head. I mean, you're making bigger things, and it's fascinating at the same time, because it's silent in the operating room, because the doctor is listening to your brain and having to do things to see where you're at. And it was wonderful for him. He was able to do a lot of things that he wasn't being able to do before. However, it's not perfect, obviously. And I think that the fact that there's ultrasound, oh my gosh, what a change. It's so non-invasive. This was really what the thing was pretty scary when I had to observe all the stuff he went through. But it did the job. I mean, for a long time, he was able to do a lot of things, so that was helpful.
Did he have tremor as his primary symptom?
No, he didn't. So we weren't sure if he was going to qualify. He never did have tremor.
Yeah.
But his doctor, we met him, and he says, "You're so young." Well, 58, you're young. I'm old now, so that seems young. But he said, "Yes, I will take you on." And it was a gift. It gave him probably another 16 years of being able to do a lot of things he wanted to do, playing golf and doing that. And we had to still take medicine and do all the things you got to do, but it was a scary operation, I will have to say. So I'm rooting for the ultrasounds.
So I'll piggyback on a lot of this. So, our medications, like we said, there's so many medications. The gold standard medication is Cinnamon, carbidopa-levodopa. It's been the gold standard since, the 50s?
Yeah.
That's kind of been the prescribed medication of the time. Like we said, there's no medication that is going to stop the disease in its tracks right now, but there's a lot of research. Michael J. Fox Foundation is doing so much research. And there's new methods now. There's new different medications. You have your dopamine agonists, you have your MOHB inhibitors, and they're all wonderful to help you with your symptoms as well. They all have their own side effects. Over in the Rochester group here, there's a book by Davis Finney. Chapter 7 is my favorite chapter in it. It talks about all the medications in Parkinson's, and it's really a worthwhile thing for anybody that has Parkinson's to get that book.
Take them for free.
Take them, they're free, yeah. They're great. I mean, I love them. And I tell people, don't read them cover to cover, use them as reference, because that's exactly what that is. It's a reference manual. So I think that's all I got. But yeah, the focused ultrasound, DBS surgery, they're great for people now that they're coming up with tremors. So.
To add to the Davis Finney books, there's 2 books. One that is full of all the information she's talking about, but there's one that's for the care partner. They're excellent, and they are free. And please take them, because they're so heavy. I don't want to take them home. So, they're just hugely heavy. But they are, everybody that has gotten them, we try to hand them out at our groups so that people can have them, but they're wonderful. And it has answers a lot of questions, like you said. And like you, I would not, don't read it cover to cover. Why scare yourself silly? Just read what you want to know about. So.
Has stem cell been part of using to help the Parkinson patient?
I do know that I just saw recently that Michael J. I just saw, I think, yesterday online that Michael J. Fox Foundation is doing a seminar on stem cell. I think it's tomorrow. So check on Michael J. Fox Foundation, but I think it's a seminar tomorrow. They're going to be talking about stem cell research. That is a new area of research that they're trying to really tap into.
Right. Okay.
Can you think about stem cell?
No.
No, me either. Just all of us brought lots of things, so please look at them and take the information that you need. And one of the things that we haven't really talked about a lot, but is the Kurt Gibson thing that's opened. Is it open officially to go?
Not yet.
No, okay. Oh, it's
Early
really
September.
yeah, it's coming up. But anyway, I just went there this last week, but I've got a phone number there that you can call and find out about it. And also there's please take anything you want. All of us, I have brought things that take what you can, because you never know when you might need that piece of information.
Do we have any more questions? Would you mind going back to the symptoms of Parkinson's? Is there any motor symptoms besides?
Who wants to take that one?
One more, I'll go to Andy on this.
I actually made a list because I had a feeling this question was coming. I think, sometimes those non-motor motor symptoms kind of overlap. But if you think about the non-motor symptoms, things like anxiety, depression, those are fairly common. Trouble sleeping, constipation. As a speech therapist, that cognitive changes we see pretty often. Issues turning in bed, dizziness, and loss of smell is a big one. I think we hear from a lot of people that's usually that first symptom that they see is that loss of smell. Orthostatic hypotension, vision changes, like double vision, I think, is one of them. Changes in mood.
You got a lot of them.
Like I said, I wrote a lot of them down. Some of it's hard to keep track.
Which the dictionary also has them all listed in there.
The thing that's interesting with the loss of smell, my husband lost his sense of smell probably 20 years before he was diagnosed, but he had allergies. So the doctor said, oh, it's just allergies, take your allergy medication, move on. Never thought about it again, but they said that probably was the first.
And now we're all screwed up because of COVID, so.
Well, yeah.
No one's gonna know anymore.
As far as sense of smell, that usually is the very first symptom that we don't realize that we have, and that can happen 15 to 20 years before your actual diagnosis. That's, I think, another reason why they've done so much research, or why research is being done right now about where Parkinson's starts. Is it inhaled or is it ingested? Does it travel up and down the vagus nerve, etc.? And I think that it's because of that first symptom that I think causes that.
Coworker that had the skin test
Yes.
diagnosis.
Yeah, so there is a new skin test right now that they're doing. They take skin biopsy from 3 parts of your body, back of the neck, thigh, and calf, I believe it is. And they send it out to a lab in Arizona. And believe it or not, they can actually see the folded alpha-synuclein in that skin. And that is like, they say that there's no testing for Parkinson's. So I don't know how many of you have had a DAT scan before, but DAT scan will confirm a diagnosis. They don't use it for actual diagnosis. But the skin test is now 93% accurate, I believe, to show that alpha-synuclein, that there is a folding there.
Would you mind defining what that word was?
Alpha-synuclein. Alpha-synuclein is a protein that's found in the body, and the folded alpha-synuclein is a common, is a problem in Parkinson's. It's one of the first things that they see.
There's too many misfoldings of it in the brain, so.
Causes clumping.
Thank you. I am out of questions, so does anyone have a question?
We can keep talking,
We
I'm
can,
sure.
believe me.
Would any of you like to talk about the Kirk Gibson Center?
Do you want me to talk? I was going to talk a little bit about Michigan Parkinson Foundation.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if you guys don't know about Michigan Parkinson Foundation, I'm sure raise your hand if you don't, because I'm surprised if you don't. Michigan Parkinson Foundation is an organization that's been around for 42 years. We have been kind of like the backbone in finding support for the state of Michigan. We currently have 76 support groups throughout the state. We do so much education. Well, let's start from the beginning here. We stand on 4 pillars. Our 4 pillars are community. So our community is in our support groups. And in our walks that we have coming up. There's a walk flyer up there in Metro Detroit, going to be in Utica. That's the Rochester team, if you want to join them, the Rochester team. Or you can join my team. We're currently in first place. We'll walk with open knees. Just we like friendly competition. But, so through the community, we find that, the community brings this missing piece to Parkinson's, because Parkinson's draws us inward. Being in this community, you realize that you are not alone, that you have a place. We also work on exercise. You would say exercise is so big on you. We do exercise programming online. Kim's one of our online teachers on Zoom on Thursdays. She's the favorite teacher, by the way. We run in-person classes in Farmington Hills, Troy, and St. Clair Shores. Lisa teaches with me in Troy. We also run a program that we call Train the Trainer. So what Train the Trainer is, it's a really important program, I feel. We have found funding that we can reach out to people in exercise, where there's no exercise, I should say. So it's kind of like an exercise desert. So like, I don't think there's any exercise programming in Romeo per se, besides OPC, I think is probably the closest. So we would try to identify somebody here, whether it be a PT, an OT, or an exercise professional, to train them in how to teach Parkinson's program. We might put them through power training or something of that sort, where they can offer a free exercise class to the community. So that's a big program that we are doing right now. We do education. Education is also, and like I said, keeping you guys educated. We talked about that word nobody likes to say, constipation. We just did a virtual exercise series, I think it was last year, that's on our YouTube channel, where we had a gastrointestinal doctor talking about that very thing and how important it was for the gut biome to be equal so that we can keep your gut moving. And if your gut isn't clearing out, your medication is not going to absorb. So we have to make sure that all that's happening. So that's part of our education. On top of education, we do a program we call PD 101. It was developed by Julia Wall. So we take people that are newly diagnosed and people that have been diagnosed for a little bit that wants to learn more about Parkinson's. And we've been doing that at our offices. We're currently taking that out of the office and into the community more. I have one coming up in Macomb. If you've not been to a PD 101, you can join us in Macomb. It's going to be at the Macomb YMCA, September 18th, I think it is. So that'd be a great opportunity for you to learn more about Parkinson's if you haven't done that yet. Last but not least, we focus a lot on respite care. We have a social worker on staff, Stephanie Wozniak, who's amazing. And the respite care program, we will give each family $2,000 a year to help with respite care because we know our care partners are important. And that respite care is for that. It's to help our care partners find a little bit of relief. And on top of the respite care program, she has a loan closet. If you need any type of durable medical equipment, we may have it, or we might have a connection to help you find it. So anything that you need, you can call Michigan Parkinson Foundation because that's what we're there for. I'm done. I don't believe it.
We've got a lot of good information. Any questions from care providers? No? Okay.
Would you also be able to touch on the Kirk Gibson Center, where it is, and when, you said September 20th, I think.
I've got some little pieces of paper that have phone numbers and address on there. That's on that counter, on the table.
So the Kirk Gibson Center is located in Farmington Hills. It's on Northwestern and 13, Northwestern and Millbelt. Those of you that know Angie Ludwa, who doesn't know Angie Ludwa? She is their program director. And what they're doing is they're opening a free center. So it's all going to be based on wellness. So they're offering all different types of exercise programming. You have to be a member, so you have to fill out a form online to become a member. You have to go through their orientation process and their assessment process to get into the program, but it is free. And it's a phenomenal thing. There's going to be a walking track up there, so if the care partners are there, guys, or your folks are in classes, you can go walk the track. You can have a seat in a common area, have a cup of coffee and chit chat. So there's a lot that they're offering right now.
They're gonna have food too.
And they're going to have food. They're going to be this, why not? Why not all encompassing?
And I believe your only criteria is that you provide a script that says you have Parkinson's, and then your care partner is just attached. I wanted to just mention too, we can still ask questions, but I'm doing a raffle. I can talk like one of those auctioneers of a pair of boxing gloves. If you want to just put your name, I can announce it in the next hour or so to win a free pair of boxing gloves. So right at my booth there.
I'm also so horribly sorry, I forgot to mention that we have cookies and muffins in the back. They are delicious, they're made by a family friend, and if you would like one before you leave, go ahead and grab one. Or if you want one right now, or 2, or 5. Maybe take one for every day of the week. That'd be fine too. Oh, yes, and did you want to talk about the balls?
Sure.
Nobody ever officially asked you, but.
That's okay. My name is Trent McIntyre, and I have to say that the first person that I had the privilege to work with Parkinson's was Kathy's husband. So it's quite incredible to be here with you because of all the conditions that I've worked with, Parkinson's community is so beautiful and so inspiring. So I thank you in thanking him because
Oh, he
it
loved
was
it.
remarkable.
Loved it. Couldn't wait to get there.
As you were telling the story of what you were experiencing, I was having memories of all the times that his driver would show up and be with them in the studio and all that, and thinking it's beautiful that you have your life also. So
Yeah.
thank you for being here and sharing that as well.
Yeah, no problem.
So I invented the Brain Speed Ball, and actually, if you're here today, I brought enough that you can take one home with you. And then I created a Parkinson's playlist of like the top games for you to play using the Brain Speed Ball. So it's on YouTube, and it's a private invitation, so you can access it really easily that way. And I'm also here if you have questions and you want to play the game with me. I'm happy to play it with you. Basically, when we're looking at Parkinson, we know that if we can exercise your eyes and we can exercise your inner ear, we can improve your balance and coordination, your mood. And so the game is designed to make it fun to do that. And it can be applied to any class, or it can be a class by itself. So we have Rocksteady classes that use the Brain Speed Ball. We have yoga classes that use it. I have a Pilates studio. We use it in Pilates all the time. And then also you can just play it by itself. With a partner, on your own, with a group. It's really fun. You ready?
Yes. Thank you.
So I'm gonna walk you through as if you've never seen it before and we're just learning how to play. So first, just see if you can catch the ball. Because you don't have to. This doesn't have to be a throwing game. But since she's showing me she can catch a ball, we're gonna make it a throwing game. We could also make it a rolling game if we had to, or even a hand it to her game if we had to. It can be modified at any level. So now that I know she can catch the ball, I want you to watch the ball come into your hands. Yep. And then now when you see it, I want you to catch and stop it and tell me what you're reading.
N.
Cool. I'll play with you. N. P. D.
Y.
Good. F.
12.
Good. 5.
Whoa. 11.
I love the sound effects.
6. There you go. C. W.
The logo.
Good. So just off the bat, if we can, in 30 seconds, create laughter and smiles, it's amazing. This was your husband's favorite
I
thing
know.
in the studio.
Well, trust me.
He wouldn't let us leave without playing the game. And he worked with all of us. All of us had a privilege of working with him. He's like, we have to play this game. I'm not walking out of here until we play this game. Okay, so one thing you're doing that everybody does because your brain wants to make it as easy as possible is kind of catching it and bringing it to like an easy place to look at it. So now what I want you to do is no matter where you catch it, I want you to say out loud at that moment, kind of freeze it in space. Ready? Cool.
10.
Good. I.
6.
O. U. N.
A.
Good. R.
N.
Oh.
H. 4. E. 12. N. Oh. 5. Z.
Go. Go. Go.
2.
Good. Eat, rest. Now, I'm going to roll it to you. Can we move the drinks settle? I'm really good at bowling, so I'm really. So, if I was going to down level it, you can stop and tell me what you see. T. If she wasn't able to stand, we could do this in a chair across the table. 10. Also, I've had the privilege of being with people through hospice care and with very little vision, not words, with just noises and barely an arm to work. I've dropped it in their lap like this, and there would be some noise that would come back. We did this for like 5 minutes, and what I discovered is that it would make them in a good enough mood and compliant to be bathed, to be fed, to have the sheets changed. Like huge quality of life for the caretaker in an in-home situation where that's a huge struggle. So at all levels, we've seen tremendous things. I have some brochures back here. Feel free to come by and grab one. But the most exciting thing that we're doing right now is early research to show just how much neural activity we can increase by playing the Brain Speed Ball. And we see markers at 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and 10 minutes. 10 minutes being really, really optimal. But we have those markers that show percentage of increase in neural activity. And right now, our highest increase is 47% increase over 10 minutes. And that's incredible. And that's using a device that measures brain waves and oxygen flow to the frontal lobe. So right where your movement centers, things like that. So, yeah.
I've been using the brain speed ball in our exercise classes for 7 years, maybe 8 years. I don't even know how long. And I can honestly tell you that, I mean, there's so many cognitive games that we can play with that. One of my favorite is it just might be throwing the ball around the circle and saying, okay, first letter you see, give me an animal.
Yeah.
Or the first letter you see, give me a state or a country or etc. So it's really firing off those neuron, the brain waves and making you think and move. And the movement is incredible as well,
Yeah.
along with the balance,
Yeah.
etc.
Because I could throw the ball directly to you, right? So it can make it really easy for you to get it. But if I want to make you challenge your movement, I can do that, right? So as long as you have a safe situation, I'm not going to do that to somebody who doesn't have the ability to be mobile. But also, we want you to exercise. We want you to move your body and not just make it easy.
Yeah.
The other thing that's really fun, cognitive to do is if you catch a letter, just say the letter that comes before or after it. Right, exactly.
That's a new one. Thanks, Fred.
Yeah, yeah. Or you can do math games and you can add or subtract or multiply with math.
That's the add-on to the, okay, say the alphabet every other.
Yeah, exactly. One of Hap's favorite games was he would face a wall, I would stand behind him and throw the ball, so he'd have to wait for it to hit the wall and then catch it. Because he played a lot, so you had to come up with ways to keep it fun and creative and fresh. So awesome. Any questions I can answer?
And it's great for your kids, it's great for your grandkids, because
Make sure I brought enough for everybody, so make sure you come back and grab one before you go. Okay? Very good.
He says get nothing.
Thank you for doing this, Harper. It's amazing to be a part of it. Yeah, good.
is there any extra question that's come into your head since then? Then why don't we come back up and you can go check out the booths, grab some papers, and hopefully grab a gray ball.
Yeah.